Naga Siren, you're gonna play a slow game. So that puts your team at a very vulnerable state if you lose the early game too much.
It's showing a lot of your hand too, right? Like when you have the Naga Siren out already, it's like you're giving TNC the opening to say, okay, we can push you in if we choose to. So now it's up to DC if they can kind of stop that.
Do you think it might be a trick up their sleeves that they might do Naga support from this team? I've not seen
very
it.
possible.
I've not seen it from them though.
I think from the group stage, it was mentioned that DC are one of the teams who pick like the most heroes and like one of the more versatile playstyles. So I wouldn't put it past them. Maybe go back to that. It would make a lot of sense, given the situation.
For what we have seen from them, they always run it on resolution as carry, and then they pick more like a. Usually they run like two very greedy heroes on Weeha and Resolution, and then Mo and the two supports are there to make like a lot of space for the team.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, I think Resolution, even though he takes a lot of farm, but I would give him credit that he's the type of carry that shows up for the team. He's not just farming, he's always helping, fighting with the team.
Reserve time.
And I would say Weeha probably is the person that takes the most of the farm on the team.
Yeah, I would agree, and Naga Siren Coddle is definitely like capable of doing that. You can get like a good 3-4 man song off, and then like a big Illuminate on top of that. It's like a huge amount of burst damage.
Lots of potential for setup during our second wave of bans. DC had got rid of that Huskar, which TNC pulled out to eliminate OG, and they also get rid of that Storm Spirit. TNC say X-Nay to the Weeha Invoker, and then quickly rid of the Axe.
I wonder if DC are going to go the path of the Sand King. We've been seeing a lot of off-lane Sand Kings, and they've had a tremendous amount of success. And if it's not Sand King, it's usually Axe, and obviously you mentioned as well.
I mean, even TNC could go there. If they're anticipating a Naga core, you can pick Sand King to deal with the illusions. You can get Meganims or even go to his lane. Like you're gonna be able to put so much pressure on the Naga's lane, which is most likely gonna be the mid lane for DC if they're gonna send him towards the mid lane to make sure he gets.
Whoa! Radiant team pick. We have not seen this guy in quite a while. We brought him up briefly yesterday, but we kind of just quickly casted him aside. But here, DC find him valuable.
I think they pick it in anticipation of TNC actually picking one of those initiators, like Sand King or Faces Void, so they have it saved
10 seconds
for like the team, because they want to get into the backline to make sure the Coddle can like keep pestering them.
5 seconds remaining.
If they actually pick the Void or the Sand King, you can actually really easily save them after you get like a Black Dagger.
I actually think the reason of this pick is because it's sort of like a replacement to Elder Titan, and you want a hero that can provide good laning phase, and you have D push. When you have Naga core, you want a lot of D push on your team, so you move the enemy team around and you force them to react to your heroes being pushing out the lanes all the time. So Tusk provides them for the team, and you have Roshan control with the Sigil.
Do you think there might be anything else to it? Because I can't help but feel like Elder Titan could have just been a better. Oh no, he was banned out. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's always banned.
Maybe there's something they can pair with it within their lineup to make it that much better. Because I don't know. Like I feel like there could have been better options if you just needed to say techniques.
I think it's more too about like being able to get close. Like that's another thing that you really want to get to Joe Ranger, being able to get in and break the ultimate as well.
Yeah, you always just want to be like a 400 AoE. Just make sure she doesn't deal damage. Her team doesn't deal damage.
I mean, with TNC picking up Dazzle here, I still feel like, you talked about a partner hero for the Tusk. Darkseer is still in the pool. It's a natural mech carrier as well, and you would just have the most ridiculous amount of wave clear with DC's team. I think TNC would have a very hard time like dealing with that.
5 seconds remaining.
Plus Naga Siren is very good together. Not because they have any good combos in team fight, but it's because of how you're gonna execute the two heroes. You're gonna be pushing the lanes with Iron Shell, so it makes it very annoying for the enemy team.
Yeah, and they already committed for Dazzler, so you don't have to worry about an Oracle or anything like that. So that could be a shoe-in for DC if they do consider it for move.
Yeah, like the lane could also be really good if you get a good opening with the Tusk. So like Andy said, a lot of pressure on the Drow's lane. If you can kill the Drow at least one time in the lane, it's gonna cripple the team a lot.
And even if you have problems later on with the Darkseer, you can just high ground turtle so easily with the Coddle Darkseer. It's so difficult to push into that, while the Naga Siren will just farm away in other lanes and split push.
Yep, it seems like DC are gonna try to play the split push game this time. They have a very good setup with the first 3 picks and looking good for them. TNC on the other hand, with the Drow lineup, they're gonna look to boss the issue here.
Or they were inspired by Wings and they're gonna put Techies with Tusk.
I would love it. Like we've seen a combo win TI5. Like that combo made like EG so strong at TI5.
I mean, if you think about it, a Techies type of game would definitely suit a Naga Siren, right? You want to play late game.
Radiant team pick.
The boring master.
Yeah, boring for you, but these guys are trying to win.
They have to win.
They're not like you, you're just trying to be on the panel.
Legitimately though, of course, we know the utility that Beastmaster brings in the game.
And the Sigil plus the Hawk, so a lot of vision. Against Draw Ranger lineup, you want to be able to scout the Roshan. That's very important.
5 seconds remaining.
But even if it's scouted, it's gonna be very hard to contest with the lineup, I feel. Like they do one mistake and TNC will just be able to snag it like right away.
But what do you think, Andy? Do you think the Tusk and Beastmaster could pressure the Drow lane this time with the Dazzle on the bench?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I don't think, like, if the Dazzle and the Venge both have to stay down there, I still think that's a win for DC. And worst case scenario, the Beastmaster can still jungle extremely fast if he ever gets forced out of lane.
Yeah, but would you have any kill potential? Maybe say level 3, if you try to run him on them with the snowball and the ball.
If it's 3 heroes, probably not. But maybe if you get a rune or something, because I think between those 2 heroes, they should probably be able to get bottom rune fairly reliably. Like, I don't think
5 seconds remaining.
It's difficult for the supports to contest, and TNC goes for their initiator. You need to be able to grab the Cockle. Like, if you're gonna push, you need a hero that can go behind enemy lines, grab the Cockle, kill him, and then push the tower.
Radiant team.
Yeah, that's also why we see the Stormband out. It's like a premier hero to catch that Cockle in the back and just kill him off in like a second. But we don't know yet whether he's middle or off them with TNC. Like we've seen him run on the fourth position. But it's probably going to be off lane. And they want to have like another hero that can hit hard in the mid.
10 seconds remaining.
Like something like a Mirana would be nice, but it's banned. Like, you get the idea, it's along those
5
lines.
seconds remaining.
You want to be able to siege towers, pressure, you have wave clear.
You almost think they want more catch than they already have.
Reserve time.
Because I feel like with Beastmaster, Hawk Vision, and just the heroes that they have, it's going to be
Radiant
extremely
team
difficult to find picks.
Yeah, it won't be easy for them. It's going to be all on the laning phase, how much they get done, how fast the Black Rider gets his blink. That is very crucial for TNC.
But TNC needs to commit now. Like they definitely to pick a hero that can really push
remaining.
or kill the illusory like reliably.
Yeah,
like, they could go late game as well,
5
but they need
seconds
like, to
remaining.
commit in either direction now.
So they're going for a much more
team
safety pick. You have decent early game and you have a good late game.
Wait, so it's a draw mid and morph safe lane then, right? So the morph mid is like really like vulnerable against most mid heroes.
But you have the wave farm to get away if the Tusk ganks you though. Don't you think that's better?
And you have to draw our like actually morphing deals like a lot of damage mid lane.
Yeah.
When you morph down to agility.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea
5
for the morph
seconds
to be
remaining.
mid. It's going to discourage the Tusk rotations. He's going to get a lot of farm with the draw. So pretty good idea.
Final pick for DC is going to be what looks like the Weeha Dragon Knight, gentlemen. Now with the draft before us here.
Man, it seems like DC can push as well with the Beastmaster plus the DK. So it's going to be really interesting here. I'm going to favor the DC's lineup here right now.
Yeah, I'm a bit torn between the two. I actually think they both are really good lineups. Like they both can farm, save, and push. So I don't know. I will just go for TNC because I like Demon.
I'm actually going to side with Black. I think the Morphling last pick is a much better game plan for them, just being able to take it a little bit later.
Sounds good, guys. Let's go ahead and send it over for our first game of the day. We have Toby Wan and Merlini bringing you DC versus TNC.
It's almost going to be a sad sight when one of these teams has to leave the stage. There's so much history with these guys, especially the captains. Misery up against Demon. They were former players back in the old days of Dota, and now they're fighting up against each other to eliminate them from TI6.
One of them must leave this tournament, and it's going to be Demon or Misery. They're all support players turned captain.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can really answer that question. No one who actually tries to answer those type of questions here at TI6 ever gets it right, because we always have the opposite answer. It's just the easy battles. TNC, DC, you never know who's going to win in this kind of matchup.
Man, I'm so glad I get to cast Jimmy. I ran into him in the hotel last night, and I had the pleasure of speaking to him. You know, we talked about the normal stuff. Good luck, you know, good congratulations on winning, and then eventually it always gets back to Demon's individual play, and he's like, oh, did you see what I did over there? He's like trying to act all abashed. He's trying to bat his eyelashes. I don't really know what I was doing. And then I was like, what are you talking about? You ran around the T1 tower with a haste rune. You made them waste 2 sentry wards. And then his veneer of like shyness and abashedness wears off. He's like, actually it was 3. And then I have
30
another
seconds
story
to battle.
about Jimmy too, which I'll go into later. What's going on in the early game?
You can save it, man. We've got some time. We've got a full best of 3 to get through, and that's where I'm hoping we actually go with this series. All 3 games would be the dream for all spectators here.
Yeah, Jimmy's unofficial name. His official name is Demon, as you can see, but his unofficial name is TNC.5K. Normally you ask a player, oh, what rating are you? Oh, I'm almost 5K. You're like, oh, so how close are you? They're like,
The battle begins
4.3.
for good
It rounds
and
up to
all.
4.5, which rounds up to 5. But Jimmy's the other way. He is TNC.5K. He's 59.88. So when he loses the game and you go to lose it, oh, so Jimmy, what happened to you this game? He's like, oh, don't blame me. I'm only 5K. Whereas if he wins, he's like, oh, wow, Jimmy, you played amazingly well. What carried you to this victory? He'd be like, MMR don't mean shit.
Man, he knows
He's that guy.
He knows it all translates like that. In Southeast Asia, that's actually 8K. Oh,
Jimmy.
Into our lanes we go. So the funness in the players, even in the drafting phase before we actually in the lobby before we started, there was a nice little bit of banter going back and forth with even just around the first pick as well as dire side selection. And we have our lanes going off. So Moo, he'll be trying to run this safe lane up against the Batrider with the mid dual lane. It's going to be Saksa. He is rotating over to help out Weeha and keep Cuckoo off the lane. While down on bottom, it is the dual Puddle plus Naga Siren off lane against Demon and Raven, the Drow as well as the Dazzle. Now, at least they've got the range to deal with this dual off lane this time for TNC.
Yeah, TNC might be able to push early. It's with the Naga first pick, you expect it to be played by Resolution, which generally means longer games. We saw it in the newbie series yesterday versus Liquid. You can lose really hard being down 15-20 kills in the early game, but you do always have that Naga backup. But with sustain from Keeper, even like reset from the Naga Siren and the push potential from Dragon Knight and Beastmaster, they can actually perhaps punish the slow Morphling on the side of TNC.
And Weeha keeping Morphling down very low. Morphling's perfectly alright with this. He knows he'll be safe. Got Waveform away, the Breed Fire still only level 1 for the Dragon Knight, so it's not that much of a perilous burst damage for him. It's this top lane we're keeping a secondary eye on because Beastmaster, he keeps getting heavily napalmed up. So 6 stacks, now he's up to 9 stick charges. So Moo's feeling comfortable here, but once he gets 6 sticky napalms, you have to back up. But he's kept the creep wave near enough to his own tower until now. But just safety first.
Wonder where the first rotation is going to come from. We didn't talk too much about the aggro try from DC, Keeper of Light. Pretty good positioning on the...
Moo down a long way. This is what I was talking about. When Moo gets too far away from his tower, Sam can just capitalize on it, and the Batrider will take the first blood on the top lane against Beastmaster.
Gotta watch those stacks.
That you do.
I actually remember casting with you earlier. You're like, no, you need to back up at 6 stacks.
Yeah, you do.
It's like Toby. You gotta back up at like 3.
Well, Moo likes to live life on the edge. Raven got initiated on by the Tusker. And he'll be forced all the way back to base because of this. He can still leave Demon in the lane. He doesn't really have many levels, however. He went the Poison Touch level 1. At least he can soak up some experience at the moment, and he purposely kept himself away from the lane. You need to have throw range with up at level 6, gives everyone advantage, because TNC are running a 5 range lineup with that throw ranger, so everyone gets the boost.
The biggest problem is they can't pull. They have 2 sentry wards trying to deward their small camp, but it missed, and they have Keeper of Light too. Keeper of Light is one of the best.
They're going again on top lane with that stun and 4 sticky napalm charges. AU's trying to get the body block off. They won't even need it. Move under the cover of the Firefly. Just burns. And this DC safe lane not working, and they're forced to bring in the Tusker to the top.
And with the sentry wards expiring soon on the side of these, TNC have finally regained control of their safe lane, pick up some levels on Demon and Raven. More importantly, Raven, he's only level 2.5 of the Drow Ranger.
Yeah, that's because of the long walk back home, but keeping back forward, he'll get some help. What do you think about this build coming in from the Morphling, bypassing the early bottle and going for the double Wraith Band?
That is a build that I've not seen very often. We haven't seen actually too much Morphling mid recently. Maybe he thinks that his supports are going to go for the rune a little bit more, but also generally one of the better heroes who cast runes, anyone with a blink or a pseudo blink.
Tusker, they could turn for this one. AU purposely waiting in the tree line. The 4-minute rune was already taken. It was the Observe Ward that let them play as properly. The shards allowing him to get the vision to snowball up to the Mud Golems. Let's get all the way, and Sam sticks with it. This is now the 3rd kill for the Batrider. He's the highest on the CS. And he's the highest on the net worth by almost 1,000 gold 4.5 minutes in.
And Sam H, we saw him have a little bit of a rough start on this Batrider earlier, but with a good start like this,
That he will. All the items in the world. You get a Drum of Endurance in under 5 minutes on top of the Tranquil Boots you had. Like, we're seeing some of the Batriders have to stay farming a little bit longer because you see these early drum pickups with the Tranquil then into Blink Dagger. Yeah, that's a 5-minute drums. So the Blink Dagger timing is going to be almost on the same timing as if you rushed it.
I think he can just solo kill Moo at this point. He's held his skill point at 6, so I'm not sure if he's going to go for last.
Demon, the snowball's coming in. The Illuminate needs to connect. It doesn't. Shallow Grave Demon controlled just enough that he couldn't get his Shallow Grave off in time.
A little bit of a greedy play, holding on to the grave there, but looks like he would have likely died anyways. Actually, he could have TP'd out. They don't have another stun aside from a snowball.
He'd have to time it like really well though. Or you just get back underneath the tower, let Raven do some damage. And now Raven, this is not the scenario. Like the Batrider scenario is fantastic for him. The problem you have, okay, is that rotation? No, Weeha's back at the tower. The problem you have is like Dro range now just can't find any farm. Like Dro is forced into her own jungle this early on.
Yeah, she hasn't died, but she needs a safe place to farm. Morphling, not one of your ideal jungle heroes. So ideally you'd want to like swap him out, especially if it's someone who can farm.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. I feel
Put the
sad for
Morphling
them.
in the bot lane, push the Dro
Radiant
to the mid
structures are
up against the
fortified.
DK.
Don't
I
waste
think
time
it's better
healing
to
them.
cycle your Morphling
Dire's
than
middle
the
tower
Ranger,
is
but
under
it's also
attack.
really inefficient for him to move all
Dire's
the way
structures are
bottom.
fortified.
But instead they
That's
move
what
all
that
to the
wispy
mid
glow
lane.
around the
The
tower
Morphling
means.
replicas back behind the tower. Weeha gotta commit the stun.
Dire's
They have
middle
to
tower
realize
is
that
under
is in
attack.
fact
It
not
has
a
no
real demon.
arms to defend
The
Radiant's
bottom
bottom
tower's been
tower
taken
has
out
seen
by
better days.
Tusker as well as Resolution, so there's no problem here for DC.
Radiant's bottom
They
tower
defend their
is
one
under
tower,
attack.
take minimal damage. You do burn your Dragon Form early on, but you still get the desired result whenever you burn the Dragon Form. An early
Radiant's
tier 1
bottom
tower.
tower has fallen.
They're still trying to struggle to protect the Drow. I think the best play is actually to pressure the Batrider's lane and to make sure that the Beastmaster continuously feeds and is forced to hook up with his team so they can eventually take that T1 and then trade jungles in the meantime. But alternatively, they can sit down on bottom, force the other heroes out of the Drow Ranger's lane. You definitely don't want the Keeper of Light to chain farm this Radiant jungle as well as the Naga Siren, but Resolution's having his way with those pool camps.
Tusker chasing up after AU, but he can't get close enough. Cuckoo trying to defend against the end of this Dragon Form of Weeha's. When the Illuna keeps hitting the wave as well as the Morphling. Luckily for him, he had a regeneration room bottled up. An extra support behind in the form of Dazzle and the VS.
Demon's Vista Sentry Ward 2 on the mid lane. He thinks that Misery's going to go for a very different ward, and he does, but not quite as different as the Vengeful expects.
It's been a fairly common ward from DC too, exactly where he put that sentry, just a little bit further south. But for now, 3-1 Resolution up a very long way on the bot, but he's also got Song of the Siren, so there's not a lot TNC could really do about him, not unless they get that Blink Dagger up and running.
Yeah, that's very problematic. He's going for Iron Talon. That's the recipe in his inventory, and just going to farm out that Radiant jungle. Naga is going to have a lot of places to farm. Haste Rune on top, this could be a kill rune for the team.
Yeah, they're actually saving it for Cuckoo. He replicated down to the bottom room so he can grab the bounty and get his bottle charges. And now he can help to the top lane where AU is still sitting around the haste rune.
He might be just looking for a gank on Beastmaster if he shows up, but they already have a reserve reward prepped in case Batrider is going to move there.
Maybe he's thinking about going on Weeha.
Oh, they use Scout on top. They definitely want to go.
There's the movement. As you said, they go underneath the Dire Observe ward. The Wave of Terror reveals nothing. As DC has already bailed out.
Probably expecting to have a ward there, but Batrider's going to have to blink pretty soon. Just 1,000 more gold.
And then we can start seeing TNC rotate out. Unfortunately for the Batrider, where he wants to farm is currently, well, it is being stacked up. Demon waits a very long time to now try and get the big stack. One little Centaur does get out of the yellow box just in the nick of time, so that's a big stack for the Batrider to take. And the Ancients are heavily stacked as well. He's even got a small stack of his own up next to Secret Shop. So Batrider should have his Blink Dagger by maybe actually about 10 minutes.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Not bad at all. And then they can give the farm on the top lane to Demon. So you're still finding levels into the TNC supports. They need to find a little bit more though for the Vengeful Spirit. Vengeful Spirit spent most of her time just wandering around in between the lanes.
They need to stop the Naga Siren from farming. They have an observer where they're watching her farm, but she's just farming up these 3 camps and the lane at the same time, and TNC needs some towers.
Cuckoo. The stun's there from Weeha. Cuckoo, he'll just wait for himself out. He's still got 2 more bottle charges, and the next rune spawns up in 10 seconds. So we can make a play for that one as well.
The Radiant's
Looks like
bottom tower
GT's trying to do
has seen
something
better
about that.
days.
They're going to contest the runes. Okay, no, they leave the top rune alone, and it will be a double damage for him.
Drow Ranger still has yet to get shreds. Batrider needs to be the one to create space. He's actually sitting at 2,600 gold. I guess having a little bit of excess gold from that stack, but there's the smoke, there's the blink. Where are they going?
It's got to be bottom lane.
Already DC have moved down here. They got Dragon Form available. They got to force TNC into an engagement. The treads are only now just being purchased up by the Throw Ranger, so she won't have them for this engagement.
If they don't stop the Naga Siren, they have to last the Naga Siren, then maybe Dragon Knight can rebut with a quick Dragon Tail.
They have the smoke. So Batrider needs to Firefly over the tree line. The closest one is Weeha, and that's a good target for them with 3 heroes behind.
Yeah, Naga's...
There it is, playing off Lasso, and they bring in more. They actually bring in the whole 5 players of TNC, and Weeha to the tier 2 tower will drop. Vengeful Spirit doesn't have level 6, probably won't get a chance of Misery. Even with the movement speed, the Batrider Firefly will wear off. Misery is back up the lane, charging back to his own tier 1.
Oh, that's not good
Moon
for the
looks like he's
Radiant.
gonna get a free tower on in the meantime.
Really good space for him as well, building for that early necro. After what was a bit of a
Radiant's top tower
disastrous
is
start,
under attack.
beating those 2 kills
Radiant's
for
top
Batrider.
tower has fallen.
Naga Siren getting recalled. They still want her down here. Farm safely.
She's got 1,000 gold to go
Radiant's
before
top
she got
tower
the
is
relic.
under attack. About time.
Radiance won't be too far off that. Raven still in the lane. Resolution doesn't have a single point up in Ensnare, so have to rely on Song of the
that's not
Siren
good for the
to
Radiant.
prepare for the tough control. And with a snowball forward, Throw Ranger thought he could actually get his TP out, but it wasn't possible. Back in the mid lane, Morphling able to catch up the Dragon Knight. Again, they had more help coming in from the Batrider. Even without Lasso, they're able to find the kill on the DK and
Radiant's
there.
top tower
He goes
is
in
under
deeper,
attack.
looking for Misery. No Firefly, but the Flame Break pushing Misery back closer, looking to keep the Napalm charges up. And Misery, well, the Flame Break burn has worn off.
And that was
Sanders up with him.
perfect flame break coming out from Batrider. Expertly placed. Doesn't
Dire's
even
middle
need
tower
use
is all
Firefly,
alone in the
let
world.
alone
Being
Lasso.
attacked.
He can just get his mana up a little bit more. He can have his Lasso now.
He has
Firefly
6
in, you look for the Song of the Siren, no Song of the Siren, Naga Siren. As Resolution on the run, sticky napalm, drum charges, gets movement speed, there's that Tuskar save, but they can just keep it going. Resolution has 2 stacks on him, the swap back, and Resolution, he's so close to his relic money, he'll die just short of it, and the Tuskar will go down too. TNC, fantastic rotations. So much of this made possible through this Batrider, involved in all 8 of them. They can go for the roar, but Cuckoo's still gonna replicate. Actually, no mana. Cuckoo's in trouble. He can't get himself out of this. Move. He'll actually find the kill over on Cuckoo.
Radiant's
The
middle
early
tower
necro
is
was
under
paying
attack.
off.
That's not good. Radiant structures are fortified. That means you can't hurt them right
You
now.
want to block either the 4 so that you can run away, or block
The Radiant should
so
really
you're
do
not taking
something about
corrective
that middle
damage.
tower.
It doesn't actually have to be on the Beastmaster, so
Radiant's middle
it should
tower
have been more
is
difficult
normal.
for him to chase.
Some small things going the way of DC. Overall, everything's been fairly even. No one's really got a big gold advantage. The experience is going a little bit the way of TNC, but not by that much.
Yeah, even if Naga gets Radiant, Morphling can easily replicate herself or one of the mirror images and farm up, so not terribly
Radiant's top
worried
tower
about
is
the
under attack.
Naga Radiant. It's not a
About
time
time.
that DC can do all too much with, especially without a mech for them. The DK is fairly vulnerable. Naga's not level 11, so they can't really pick fights willy-nilly without the song.
Yeah, and that's why you just go to the split push. Once that Aghanim Scepter's over on Misery, every lane will be a split push lane. TNC are on the hunt. The double damage rune on the top river taken by Cuckoo. Didn't get a glimpse of Weeha. We are actually
Dire's middle
moving
tower
into
is
the mid
under
lane, but
attack.
it's just a bit overwatch right behind that tier 1 tower. They isolate Moon. No necropools available. The Morphling waveforms in. So Cuckoo's
middle tower is
sure his
under
last
attack.
hit. The Illuminate will hit from Misery, but it's only
structures
level
are
2.
fortified.
The minimal damage easily repaired by a Shadow Wave of Demon.
Dire's middle tower
And in
has
fact, the
fallen.
Battleron's already looking for more. Getting Misery
Dire's
back
middle
behind his
tower
own
is
tier
all
2.
alone in
And
the world.
this
Being
is an early
attack
throw range,
structures are
remember,
fortified,
which
just
means
like
tier
me.
2 towers take a lot of damage. Demon press another Observer Ward back behind the lines as Sam, a great flame break. Misery is in
middle
trouble. The
tower is all
snowball
alone in the
will
world.
save him, but then they
Being
move forward.
attacked.
Only to the creep waves, not too far away. Blinding line forcing TNC out, but then the swap, they bring in the Tuskar. No snowball. The Morphling
Dire's middle
waveforms in
tower
to
is
hunt these
under
tier 3
attack.
towers now.
There's no arms to
TNC
defend
from holding
itself.
Digital Chaos. The flame break, it hits Misery. He's got 3 sticky nails. Charge
middle tower is under attack. I feel sad for Dire's middle tower is under
SMH
attack.
following up with his fantastic Void performance yesterday. Today,
Dire's middle tower
Batrider,
has
they
fallen.
thought they could just stall with the keep it alive, but
Radiant's
Batrider
bottom
is just
tower is
constantly
under
on
attack.
top of him.
I
They're
feel
going
sad
in
for them.
15 minutes
Dire's
in.
middle tower
The
is under
Dragonlands
attack.
are almost done, but they're not there yet. You've now got TNC just chipping away at the tier 3s. DC is respawning, but there's no reason to force the issue any further. You don't want to give DC a
Dire's
chance to
top
get back
tower
in
is
this.
under attack.
DC's
Oh, that's got
really
to hurt.
relying on their cooldowns. The Dragon Knight ultimate, they killed him while he had his ultimate up. That's like a minute and a half cooldown afterwards. Beastmaster revolves around 80, 90 seconds with Necro 3 and Roar, or Necro rather, and Roar. But they're not really able to constantly fight, and TNC are just looking for fight after fight after fight after DC uses anything of value.
Looks like DC are on a smoke maneuver. They'll find the bounty in bottom river. They do take it, looking towards Roshan. TNC are not there. And in fact, this is going to... Yeah, DC, they're going to give it a crack. They got Necrobooks, they got Wars, they got a lot of survivability. And they'll attempt to bring down Roshan while TNC aren't looking.
Tusk has added value in this scenario with the sigil. Certainly helps despite Roshan's recent attack speed buff. They have the board too, so
Seems like a good time. DC to almost
Dire's top
force
tower is
fight.
doing
You've got all
its
your
best,
oldies,
but
as you
it
said,
doesn't
and the
look good.
Radiance just got completed on the Naga Siren. So if TNC do want to try and contest this, they could find themselves in a bit of a pickle.
well, looks like they're scouting out right now. Morphling made replicating the Naga Siren illusion is going to head to Roche, but it's going to be far too late.
Yep. It's actually not even going down to Roshan, it's heading to
thought
the
it
bottom
wouldn't
lane.
be done.
So the
Roshan
Hawk will
has
get
fallen
killed
to the
off by
tire.
the Radiance Burn, but Roshan belongs to Digital Chaos. And they'll put it in the hands of the Dragon Knight.
He's not the best Aegis carrier in terms of him not being able to respawn with Dragon Form, but he's still going to be in the front line. He's struggling mightily in terms of CS and levels.
It gives him the confidence to buy the straight Blink Dagger, knowing you don't have your buyback at least.
Yeah, but it also gives TNC a lot more incentive to go for the Naga Siren.
Yeah. Now Sweat Tuskar comes into play. Hasn't really been, like, there's been a couple of saves, but can't get him out of trouble.
He has to be really careful though with the snowballs. He's been really good about it. The one where he tried to skip to neutrals, the one
The
where
Dire's top
he
tower
like
is
tried
doing its
to
best, but it
make it
doesn't
look like he was
look good.
casting on all the TNC heroes, but he actually casted on the creep, and they all backed away to get some more distance from the snowball. But if he has a bad snowball and then they get like hit into a gust, that could just be horrendous.
DC 4-man smoke, they head up to the top lane. They don't want to give up this tier 1 tower. And TNC, they're also going to 4-man smoke.
Dire's
They
top
head
tower
over, there's
is
a
under
Radiant
attack.
Observer Ward and a Dire Observer Ward down. But of course, under the cover of smoke, both teams are nonetheless a Firefly up
Dire's
in the
top tower
Batrider.
has
He's
fallen.
looking for moves, but too far up. The Stunner, well, he gets the lasso, but now Song of the Siren. Resolution will hold the fight, so DC can reposition. The Illuminate will not really connect that heavily on the Batrider. They're going to swap Weehan back in. There's a lot of sticky napalm touched up. He lets off as much damage as he can before he'll tie. The Aegis Immortal Burns, remember, no Dragon Ball, he comes back to life again. And Sam keeps going in deeper. The roar out from Moose, but they're so low on life, they have to back up. That replicant, it does so much damage. It was burning with a radiance. The Morphling has gone in deeper. He'll find the Beastmaster. While Sam is on the run, the Necro unit trying to find the Batrider. It just wants to hit him once. It can't do it. Cuckoo might be a little bit too deep under the tier 2 tower. But then again, this is a
Radiant's middle
Morphling
tower
strength,
is
Morphling
under attack.
2400 life. And with the
Dire's
help of the
top
rest of
tower is under
TNC, they
attack.
take a good
that's
fight
got to
against
hurt.
DC.
Yeah, I really like how involved Kuku has been. He can just do so much damage just with a simple replicate. He doesn't even
Dire's
really
top
need
tower
that
is
many
under
items
attack.
himself, albeit he is
Dire has
pretty
fortified
darn
its
smart to
structures.
early earn for an eventual spirit so they can deal with the Radiance Burn. I see that early.
The Dire's top tower is doing its
on
best,
the Dazzle.
but
We've
it
seen
doesn't
a lot
look
of
good.
teams forego the Pipe of Insight as they're trying to push high ground versus heavy magic damage dealers, Mirana, Keeper of the Light, and this game it seems like the Pipe is going to be of utmost importance.
Is this one of these games too where you wonder if the Naga's Radiance works against you with a replicant? We saw it with the Nyx Assassin back in one of our group stage games.
A little bit. It's
Should
just
this almost be turned off until you see a replicant?
oh, definitely not. Because you need to accelerate your own farm, and Morphling's going to get farm regardless. But it would just hurt your farm too much if you
The Radiant should really
split
do something about that
down
middle
to the
tower.
Radiance. So Morphling and Naga kind of even, I suppose. Like Morphling's lower network, but this is where he's weaker in the game. He doesn't have a farm accelerator like Radiance, and he can replicate the Naga Siren, but it's more the Dragon Knight versus the Drow Ranger. And Drow Ranger is far ahead of the Dragon Knight, and we didn't even go for a farm guide. He went for a Blink Dagger.
And went for initiation. See if he can get that catch before the 4 stars.
Yeah.
Pull TNC away to
They don't have a hero that can stick on the ground. Normally you see like a very strong armlet carrier in front, like Lifestealer is a good example of a hero that's just like, okay, I'm just going to run at the Draw Ranger to disable marksmanship. But right now they don't have a hero that can do that. They can't stick on top of their Draw Ranger, and on top of that she has Yasha and Dragonlance, so she's not going to be at the forefront of the fight.
TNC are grouping up again for the top lane. Their Sentry Ward is in fact in range of that dire op, they just don't have vision on the hillside. So DC still know exactly what TNC are up to, and that's why they're bailing out. So they're forcing into the tier 2 tower on bot lane. Weeha's already down there.
Invisibility.
And they just try and push out the mid lane if possible.
TNC are slow.
The Radiant's bottom tower
like,
has seen better
still
days.
take fights despite TNC having Aegis. They're not really worried, even though Naga like had a really early farm. It
Radiant's
seems like they were
bottom tower
clearly
is under
prepared
attack.
for
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen,
DC,
and I don't
considering
mean in
how
love.
well it worked out for them in the group stage as well as at the men's.
Nice rune for Moon to find. He's going to actually have an invis, but fortunately for him, everyone else is just so far away. And they're not finding any kind of opening. But they do put down some aggressive observer wards through TNC Radiant Jungle. DC do want to find an opening. They will have one, maybe a little bit more difficult now to kill off the Morphling as he finishes up a full Lincoln Spear to go along with that Dragonlance.
I think TNC are going to hit their timing really soon too. They're buying a lot of early game items, way more so than normal. The Urn and the Vlads on the Vengeful Spirit. We see Dazzle with the early hood, as opposed to a Glimmer, which I think is more skirmishy. I think they're just trying to end the game pretty early, maybe get next Roach and try and screw up the cranks on DC, pin them to their base.
Well, with the Dragon Lances, they can attack in, so hey, why not?
Yeah, double Dragonlance too.
What's DC gonna do right now? Like, you Song of the Siren, but TNC already proved, like, Song of the Siren, TNC had all the time in the world to prepare for it, and TNC still won the fight against Nega's lineup.
Yeah, I mean, they have great sustain. If you don't kill people after Illuminate, they can easily heal up with the Shadow Wave too, which Demon has maxed out. So you're not really going to be able to slowly chip him down through Radiance, Burn, and Auto Illuminate, which is what this strategy relies on.
I'm liking this from DC, however. They don't commit any heroes, just put 2 ballers on the top lane to push into the tier 2 tower and force some kind of reaction from TNC. TNC don't have as easy a lineup to drag everyone in because they don't have the recoil that comes in from the Keeper of the Light. And Misery's going to have to start using that soon. He's already triggered his Ghost Form and he's halfway through the duration.
Yeah, without Scepter though, not going to be easy for them. And TNC are lacking a gem at the moment.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Run, little bottom tower. Run.
Ready enough.
It's enough for TNC to take a tier 1 and a tier 2 tower.
Dire's bottom
Get a
tower has
ward up on
fallen.
that hillside before DC try and fight you. The Beastmaster really needs to have that burn stack before the Rune goes.
If you want to use that as neutral push, he has the option of pushing the left side T2 as TNC are going for this push, but if he uses Necro 3 and they push high ground, then you're not on the great way.
They found Tusker. Sam again finding the picks, the 4-star, helping him drag it back out with the extra range from that Ether Lens. Finds the grab, and DC, they're a man down, and with the Observer being planted nicely inside the DC base, TNC have nice high ground vision. So Sam can once again maybe make a play. Misery's a little bit too far out with a blink forward. They just exploded. The adaptive strike, a little bit of Firefly, and that's all you need to kill off the Keeper of the Light. There's no buyback for Misery.
And again, TNC with a very cleverly placed Observer was. Keeper of the Light thought he had the help of Fog on his side.
Dire has
But he also had the help of the
structures.
Hawk, which is now there. Fortification, tried to slow things down. Good thing Mood didn't commit those Necro 3s to the push on the top lane, but on bottom, that tier 3 tower is almost caught. They're killing off the Replicant and the tree lines, or at least they don't have to deal with the Radiance Naga burning themselves. But that range, that melee is almost down. Shards are flying forward. Keeper will flank back up. Necrofooks forward. Weeha blinking it as he teeps himself in the back lines. Controls up Demon nicely. There's still a Telegrave available. Demon will use it on himself. As this fight split into multiple parts. Naga now has to buy it back. And Demon actually TP's out. Raven with that damage from the Hurricane Pike. Almost killing Weeha. And the rest of TNC move down. DC, they're losing way too much here. They need to find an opening. With the last two, they hold resolution. They can't have a dieback here. In fact, Sam now manually 4-star will help actually drain the mana, getting the stun of the Battle Rider locked inside the shards. He will be snowballed down, so DC, it is a costly defense, but they do hold TNC out. and maintain the life of their racks.
Hanging on for dear life. Melee racks, half HP. Don't think TNC can go for another push, especially with Roshan respawning so soon. It's actually going to respawn in the next 10 seconds or so, but that's your worst nightmare as a Naga Siren. Going for the base defense, having to help your team out this game when you have heroes that can stall. I think Tusk and Keeper are both pretty darn good at stalling. Even the Beastmaster split pushing out another lane should be enough to dissuade TNC from reaching the high ground. But when your Naga has to get involved, and then she dies, and then she has to buy back, you know you're in a really tough spot.
DC need to slow this game down if possible, but TNC, they look like they want to go faster. A Blink Dagger pick up on the Morphling, leaning more towards the lines of just straight pick off from TNC and go high ground again.
You can't fight into DC's position. You have to break like the Keep in the Light. You always have to force them to turn around, not cast full duration illuminates, and more importantly, access. They see on the back line.
They see AU, Blink, Raw, Raven's gonna be here with a gust, goes onto the Beastmaster. AU low on line with a shallow grave, kicks in from Demon in time. Actually, he'll be there for the Vengeful Spirit. Even with a swap, he can't get away, so 2 supports down for TNC. Hard to break the lines now, but Cuckoo in through the rear. He's turn around. I'm not certain about this. You're right. Weeha, he'll come free. Got Culling Blade up his sleeve, so he does get out. But then Raven and Sam looking to focus on him. The ball's keeping him slow. The snowball, he'll close the distance now between DC as well as Sam. He's the big one as the backrise does so much work already for TNC. Taking a fall, and now it's DC who are on the push. Attacking to the tier 2 tower, and Morphling having no real influence.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
The beginning of the fight, we started off they went on the Vengeful Spirit and stunned the Dazzle at the same time, so they could just nab both supports. Ooh, that was a quick blink out.
This gives DC something to work with, but Cuckoo in through the side, finds the Tusker. Resolution can trigger the Lincoln Sphere thanks to Ensnare, Weeheart, and the stun, and Breathe Fire. Keeping Cuckoo low, but the Blink Dagger back off cool, but he's just so maneuverable with this item. And then Replicate, where's he want to go? He looks down towards Moo. The Song of the Siren out from Resolution. Where's the support? It is not there. DC just want to get out of here. Straight up TP home to safety, and they know that TNC have to come back. The bottom lane's pushing in too heavily, but it looks like TNC with no Song of the Siren, they want to go for Roshan.
Wow, normally, like, Song of the Siren is not that big of a deal, but for this, it's huge. There's no way they can defend Roach without it.
Misery's going to try the Blinding Light. No one gets cliffed.
They have the Hawk on the side, but Roshan Morphling already having Aegis in the Mortal. I like the timing from TNC. Any small mistake from DC, immediate reaction, and they catch. She's got Roshan up one song.
That they did, TNC. It's the reason why you can say they deserve to be at this point of the lower bracket, to have a top 8 position, fighting for that top 6 if they can win this game.
And they still have that Observer Ward on the right lane too. It's still up for 1 more minute. This is a really good time for them to push right now.
As we swap back out again, the Raw goes on Vengeful Spirit, the double 4-stops, getting AU a long way away to safety. They trigger the defensive weave too, so DC can't really pump in a lot of physical damage.
Uh-oh, there are no green diamonds for DC. I don't see any ultimates up for them aside from Dragon Knight. That's not a good sign.
There's 4 seconds until Song of the Siren's up. So they do have that. The Beastmaster Raw, 50 seconds, 70 seconds on his Necros too. But he did at least find that water bottom lane. So that is now gone. And the Necros, they can stand their ground. Actually, there's no creep wave. The mid creep wave is all the way back at the mid river. TNC's waiting for so long for this.
Morphling goes
Kill!
That's deep. He's coming out this one already. They've got the control. Strength morphing up the wall and punch. 1 4-star, but they got another one. Cuckoo, well, he can just stand his ground and fight. He kills the Cobble at the tier 4 towers. Cuckoo, he actually gets away with murder. Outside the base, DC can't stop him.
Yeah, he ran in with a Naga illusion and they manually been trying to put it down. He just comes in. That was so deep.
It's crazy to think he's getting these kills too. Like, it shows you how weak the Coddle is. When you don't have an E-Blade, you have a Lincoln Sphere Hurricane Pike Morphling.
The Dragon Lance is extremely useful for the strategy that they're going for. Normally, Morphling you don't see get involved until 20-25 minutes, but he's been involved all game.
Seems to be great ways to cut into. Like, it's the perfect combination with these, like, 4-Staff and Dragon Lance into the Hurricane.
Mm-hmm. And they're showing up for late game. They have the Morphling already. They have the Maelstrom on Drow Ranger. I really just like the Axe first before the Maelstrom. I think the way better progression is Maelstrom first into an Axe.
We're seeing this multiple times throughout even just the playoffs. But this seems to be the build they lean towards.
Do have a replicate of the Bat Rider, so maybe Cuckoo trying to look for a pick off with that, especially if Tusk or someone else wants to go on that. DC, they still need more time. I think one of the more important items for them is to keep the bags, so they can actually win a team fight off the heel and split push additional lanes with the permanent recall.
You'll need time to farm that up, and where's he going to get it? Like inside of his own jungle? You want to stack and farm there when TNC are moving as heavily as they are? Just like now, they smoke maneuver down the mid. That's what the replicate is there for. It allows even Morphling to stay with him. Resolution so close. They scan inside the base. They don't realize that Resolution is there. No one took the Radiant's burn.
The Radiant's
But
bottom
now
tower
on
has
the
seen
observer wall, set on the side, attempted by Resolution. This is the gem of DC, also lost.
That's permission. The
Radiant's
bottom tower is under attack.
Did better.
I feel
However,
sad for
DC,
Their bottom lane, they're attacking the tier 3 towers. Sam's gonna come very quickly. And Weeha just the fire.
The Radiant's bottom tower
The
has
flame
seen
breaks
better
is in
days.
the air. Vengeful Spirit out of mana, and Weeha will get recalled. No damage from TNC to cancel that. So Misery pulling back Weeha after doing a good job. That bottom tower now down to 390.
very timely coordination from DC2. Stun out on the VS, drain her mana so she can't stop you. However, they're marching down mid. Still a healthy minute left on the Aegis of the Immortal.
That Song of the Siren is off cooldown, and if DC can keep them out for another 23 seconds.
Oh, Morphling has to be on air buff on it.
Whoa, okay. I thought you were going to wait a little bit longer on that one, Resolution. There's no fortification, but they don't want to take any chances. The bottom lane is just being pushed in the middle. Replicate the Drone Danger. And that has done almost half damage to the range racks. And even managed to pick off the Sigil. Someone, okay, finally they get rid of it.
But you can tell they were scared. They're like, oh, is he gonna get on us?
Yeah, they need a scythe or something. This would have been a beautiful game to have something like a lion to get rid of that damn thing.
Ideally, but they were not prepared for this, and their supports are really struggling to get items. Soxa and Misery both sitting at the bottom of the network chart at the moment. So another buyback expended for old Nagla Siren. She's still like decently farm number 1 on net worth, but that's so much gold lost for DC when all their eggs are in the Naga basket.
TNC, 5-man again, straight down the mid. They have one creep alive that can turn off the back door.
So I don't really know who they jump at the moment. If they jump the morph, they'll throw the Mjolnir buff on him, and he'll just strength morph, and then they'll waste like half their spells, like DKO, DMO with Necro.
But can you jump on the Drow Ranger? At least she doesn't have magic immunity.
They'll swap the Drow Rider out if they go on Drow. So I think it has to be like a simultaneous engagement. Tusk on one, and then they have 3 different like stuns and range stuns at that. Well, I guess Snowball's not really range, but close enough.
This could be a better way for DC to do it. 2 of the 4 TNC are properly grouped up as 5. They're fairly close together. The most obvious one is Raven currently on the top lane. He's just farming up one of the illusions. Actually, Hurricane Pikes to farm that illusion up, and they jump perfectly. Raven will drop. Now they move down towards Demon. One to the next. DC, they've just caught themselves to break the TPR. Resolution passing instead to cancel it. So Demon will die on the stairs. And that is some much needed room to breathe for Digital Chaos.
Careless maneuvers by the Drow Ranger and nice smoke from DC. However, not at the best time from Roshan in that respawning phase. Ideally, you want to do it before Roach, but it's often just way too obvious if you smoke around that time. Well, still, I think they like continuous damage of the team fights. Dragon Knight's really struggling for items.
Once it's got the BKB, life might get a lot easier.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm wondering how long until the Morphling finishes up his next. Is the E-Blade now completed on Cuckoo? So Blink into Shotgun. DC almost have to understand they don't have supports in these fights. They just won't survive unless Misery sits all the way back.
Attack.
At least he's now like 600 gold away from having the Aghanim Scepter. So that's a nice thing for him. I'm looking at Resolution picking up that Ultimate Orb.
Yeah, you're really just mostly worried about the Keeper of the Light dying, because he doesn't have Blink Dagger, he doesn't have that much HP, and he's the one that probably does the most damage in the fights. Without really doing that much, all he has to do is just press illuminate and walk away. And he can do upwards of 2,000 damage in the fight.
Move. Cuckoo wanted to go on him. He jumps to the replica. Now waveforms forward. He plays half the damage. It's not enough to kill off Moo. And Cuckoo might be in a little bit too deep here. The Necro units are there burning off all the mana. So there's going to be no more symbols available for him. Moo lends the roar from the tree lines. And Cuckoo pays the price. It was Dro on the top lane, being picked off by a good DC smoke. And now it was the over-aggressiveness of Cuckoo that will pay the price and give DC yet another advantage.
Soxa has to be happy about that one. It's a lot of gold going for him. Gets a monster streak kill and above 1,000 gold for that. So now they can get like maybe a glimmer cape to deal with the EB.
So DC starting to get items up on the floor, trying to get that farm we're looking for. The rest of TNC
top tower is
still on the run here as well. Blink, Lasso, Tuskar. Well, he just got 1,000 gold. He's going to give about almost 350 over to the Ranger. They're not done yet. Demon's still in the neighborhood. Resolution does have some of the siren if they want to try and catch up with the rest of TNC. After Demon's drop.
I bet he's wondering, how do they see me right there? They have a reserve reward right to the left. It's not a very common one, especially this late into the game. But
Loaded to
what
the
they use to
gills.
deal with the Drow Ranger, making sure the whole entire team wasn't behind.
Really smart play coming out from DC, exposing the weaknesses of TNC.
They need another gem though on the Naga Siren. They lost it a long time ago. She's had to buy back twice. Everyone's trying to get their items. Keeper's really close with the eggs.
The Radiant should really do something about that.
Dragon Knight definitely get items. So I guess it's maybe a Beastmaster who has 5,000 gold to help his team out. He could buy a Refresher at this point, the most common build after the Necro 3. Probably even better the gem at this point.
Choices there. Aghanim's took 36 minutes for Misery to get it. But now it's arrived, so they got the flying vision.
not
Yep,
good
there she
for the
is. The
Radiant.
refresher orb is up. Move. So double roars, double Necros. A lot more sustain arriving because of this.
Radiant's
Yeah,
top
they need
tower
double
is under
BKBs
attack.
up on TNC. It's gotten to that point where ideally you want to break their base without the BKBs, but now
Regeneration.
they're too farmed to snowball off your early game advantage, and now they have to
The
play
Radiant's
much
bottom
safer.
tower has seen
Careful
better
not to
days.
throw away their lead. Roshan number 3 is up. She's at the ready.
How does the clock actually look for TNC? Like, is it Roshan to Aegis and then you have to go high ground? Like, do they have to bring down a Rex? Or is there still some good late game potential?
That's still good late game because I don't think TC have a good way. DC have a good way to deal with split flip from the Morph lane. They can use Manta eventually, maybe in one lane, replicating one lane, Drow in one lane, Morph lane, reinforcing one of the other lanes, and it's really only Nagatar who's strong enough to do it away. You can stall with like Keeper Blinding Light, but that's only going to do so much, and Roshan going to be scouted out with the Hawk, but both of them died to the Mjolnir proc, and they will not have vision in the side of the pit. There's no way you can do it without vision here.
They were too far away anyway. There's no way they could stop TNC.
They have to already be there with the Naga
Fine
Siren.
piece of work.
And she has bought out, so she now has a gem, Diffusal Blade, but not enough money for buyback. One of the TNC's players will probably call out that, okay, she recently got Diffusal Blade, she bought back twice. There's no way that she can have enough gold. You're not like completely sure, but they provide me a decent amount. You might be able to expect that from TNC. So Naga and Keeper, the highest priority targets for TNC.
Light.
We'll see if they can get the jump. Again, we look towards Sam. More than likely, that Batrider did it for TNC in the past. Had a fantastic start.
Yeah, and now they know that Mu has Refresher.
Smoke up from DC. Just on the back line, actually allows Mu to slip through the top lane. He wants to jump in through the now blink BKB. Up through who's your target? He goes all the way back to the Vengeful Spirit. No swap out, but they song with the Siren. It isolates the B target's Resolution's going down too far. It's the BKB from Batrider. Chasing him with the adaptive strike. It's two heroes down, make green. Weehaw! Down to his own rack. Mu has to just run away on no life, but they call it. GG! TNC take game number 1 against Digital Chaos.
Wow, that sleep at the end, it was PKP wins, but TNC's not strong. You can't fight that right there. That was crazy. I really like how they dealt with the Naga Siren though. They expected it coming from DC, and then they prepared for it with the Drow Ranger, and then they had like, the most fantastic early game for Batrider. You gotta be proud of these guys. They look happy.
That was a dream for Sam, a 10-15 KDA at the end of the game. And the unsung hero, Cuckoo, that one little bit of a misplay on bot lane as he tried to go very aggressive onto Moo, that was one of his only 2 deaths out of his 11 kills. So the Morphling, the Batrider, they had free reign of everything. The Aura strat worked out nicely for them too. If everything was just great for TNC. And Paul, man, I know only one person on that panel, our expert, back to TNC.
Yes, they did. Thank you very much, Toby. Yeah, we'll come back to your game 2 and all your thoughts, of course. Thank you for the commentary in game 1. Gents, we've come outside. We've come out to enjoy the sunshine and the people out here on the green. How do you think they enjoyed game 1?
I think game 1, it was, I don't know, it was one of those games that if